New Thought Media Network proudly presents The Global Heart of Peace's Peace Party. Celebrate the many paths to peace. Explore an exciting life of peace. Embody joyous peace. Come to our weekly Peace Party, Mondays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Only on New Thought Media Network. www.ntmedia.org.
Good day, friends. Welcome to the Peace Party brought to you by the Global Heart of Peace Initiative. My name's Russ Dennis, and I'm a possibility engineer, serving as the lead practitioner for the New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. And I believe in asking good questions, not having all the answers. And that, my friends, is the key to wisdom. We are here to celebrate the many aspects of peace and explore how exciting a life full of peace and joy can be for each of us. Today, I'm going to be talking about what I call shadow dancing, embracing past traumas and personal shortcomings with compassion and grace. So shadows are made up of several things. They could be past traumas or those less than flattering aspects of our own personalities that we'd rather not share with others. And we kind of conceal those. So the barriers to facing them could be a wounded inner child, guilt, shame, unworthiness, pain, or just outright embarrassment. So what do we know about these things? Well, to start with, past traumas are not our fault, but they are our responsibility. When things are done by well-meaning people who have maybe not had the best education, maybe not the best upbringing, as we are born, we don't come down the chute with instruction manuals. So our parents are doing the best they can. So are the other people in our lives, and we have to give people the benefit of the doubt for our own safety to assume that they're doing the best that they can. The other things that we know are that people will go to great lengths to avoid facing their own souls. When we have a shortcoming, we'd like to have people think the best of us all the time. That's not possible. Spending time trying to control what others think is a formula for unhappiness. So we hide these aspects of ourselves that are less than perfect, but what we find out is that other people are going through a lot of the same thing. There's a name for it, folks. Other people have done it. If it's in the dictionary, millions of people have done it. So we don't have any shame around our character, what we're doing. The other thing we know that is that uncovering these things involve sitting with ourselves, regardless of what shows up. And meditation's a great way to do that. It's not there to make us comfortable. Meditation is there to help us become aware of what's going on. In the time that we're in this space, a lot of feelings that we tend to judge or avoid. And we don't have to avoid any of the feelings that come up or judge any of them. Feelings are feelings. 4 important things, folks. We're not what we think, what we feel, what we have, or what we do. Our spirit goes deeper than that, and we're much more than that. But the meditation, in addition to allowing our feelings to pass through with judgment, give us an opportunity to get curious. What's the source of these things? What's the source of these things that have taken place? The voices, the self-critical voices. Is that my voice, or is that someone else's voice? Maybe the intent was to protect me at the time, but now it doesn't really serve me. We can give thanks for these things and move on from it. The other thing we can ask as part of that curiosity and meditation is what my life is trying to tell me. What's my life trying to tell me? What were the lessons that came out of these experiences? I can bless them and release them, because if I'm still here, clearly I survived them. And now I can thrive. Is it teaching me how not to show up in a certain case? Perhaps that's the lesson. Perhaps it's teaching me that forgiveness is the key to freedom. but there's always a gift wrapped up in a past trauma or tough situation. And the last thing you should do is really congratulate yourself for everything that you've gone through. All of these things, no matter how terrible they are, you are still here. Somehow you got through all of those things and you handle them to the best of your ability. You're handling them today, and they inform how you show up today. And I hope that compassion and forgiveness for yourself. Now, we do have setbacks, and setbacks can identify the habitual responses that you've adopted to protect yourself. Yeah. If we stick with the desire to change for the better and not worry about setbacks and think about what we can learn from those setbacks, we put ourselves on the positive footing and create space within ourselves for peace to flow in and work in our lives. So a big part of any work with trauma or past influences would probably involve reconnecting with your inner child. A lot of pressure come to us from our youth when we didn't really have filters or didn't have a frame of reference or a working part of our experience that told us that where we are is where we should be. So now we have to reconnect with our inner child, because doing this can help us identify, well, where did these messages, these beliefs that are not necessarily following, serving me, where did these come from? So if we can get to the root of it and figure out where it originated, is it true anymore? Probably not. Reconnecting with our inner child gives us an opportunity to show up and remain present for that child within. It's up to us. We can protect that child and be present for that child within and gain that sense of playfulness and curiosity that permeated our being before we knew that things were not possible. There are many things that are possible. And one of the best things about childhood is that we think in terms of possibility, let our imaginations run wild and create all sorts of things, whether we believe them now or not. We always lived in that sense of possibility. And that can bring back that sense of awe, wonder, and play that we experienced. And we want to get back to that. And it can lighten the weight that we sense by taking on shadow work. Shadows are just a part of us. And when our light shines, we always have a shadow that's there with us. And so we have different affirmations. When you affirm something, you're calling in good for yourself and for others. I have just a few shadow work type affirmations that you might find helpful. I accept and love myself unconditionally. There's nothing to do. And the great source of all life loves all of us unconditionally. There's nothing we can do to earn any extra favor, because that power becomes what it loves. That's each and every one of us in its image. I accept and learn from all of my feelings. Feelings are feelings. They're neither right or wrong, and they will always pass if we allow them to move through. I accept I am capable of keeping myself safe. I am perfect, whole, and complete, made in the image of God. I am thankful for my own companionship. I'm good company for myself these days. I am more than enough just the way I am. Next time somebody stops you and says, hey, how are you doing today? You can look at them and say, perfect, with room for improvement. How about some inner child affirmations? I think those would be very helpful too. I deserve to have fun and play. When's the last time you stopped and did something just because it might be fun? Not to necessarily get anywhere or get something out of it, but just to have a good time. Play, that's something that we used to do a great deal. And in fact, play is the way we learn in our earliest years. But as we move into school, we can't be as collaborative as we were when they were playing. And all of a sudden, we have to individually work and it becomes cheating instead of play. That's a whole nother topic for another time. Make sure you take time to play, though, and have some fun. I'm always doing the best I can, and I'm proud of myself. Take time to tell that child that you're proud of who she or he is and that they are wonderful in every way. Here's one that's really important. I forgive myself for everything that has taken place when I let myself down and those times I wasn't present for myself. Who knew that you could be present for yourself? Maybe that wasn't told, but this is the truth of our being. We can be present for ourselves and for others as well. Here's a good one. I commit to taking care of myself and meeting my own needs. You know, I think most of us blow right through that statute of limitations where we blame things on our parents because our lives didn't go quite the way we thought they should. But you know what? We can let them because that forgiveness gives us freedom. And we want to be free from all these past traumas. We want to be free from all the negative emotions around our shadows and just know that we're doing the best we can and that these things no longer define us when we decide they no longer define us. I will be there for myself and my inner child no matter what happens. This is making a firm commitment to ourselves, to lift ourselves up, to look for all of the aspects of ourselves as being important, being there. It was all put in there. We can remove those things that no longer serve us, learn from those things. All of these things, including a trauma, are actually pressure. They're things that we can use to help other people move through whatever's taking place in their lives. And perhaps we went through those things to make us more effective at loving and serving others. So those are my thoughts for the moment, my friends. And the three thoughts that I always like to leave people with because I feel they're very, very important. The first thought is your life matters. You are important to God. Very important. No more, no less important than anyone else. We're made in God's image. The second thought is that you are worthy of your own very best effort. No matter how much work it is, you're worth the effort. And moving through all of these past trauma, looking at our shadows, we just remember that we're made in the image of that one perfect life. And that one perfect life is perfect, making us perfect by divine design. And the final thought, my friends, is that there's never anything to fix. We're already perfect. But what we're doing every day is learning to step into that perfection, to own it, and to understand that perfection is ours. So those are my thoughts. I'm so happy to have taken a few minutes and that you've taken a few minutes to listen to what I have to say. And I want to thank you for joining us today as we explore the unique aspect of peace and hopefully introduce you to a new way of looking at peace. Please join us next week at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, where Kath Ballard will share her methods of embracing peace. May you dance in the joy of a peaceful life. Know that you are always loved and that everything is as it should be. And via that choice, you have the ability to create the life that you never imagined possible. And also gets better by sharing with one another. None of us is as smart as all of us.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents the Global Heart of Peace's Peace Party. Celebrate the many paths to peace. Explore an exciting life of peace. Embody joyous peace. Come to our weekly Peace Party, Mondays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Only on New Thought Media Network. www.ntmedia